Hi, I'm Lynn, and before you listen to this episode, I just want to say that this conversation is deeply personal to me. Over 20 years ago, I was given a stage 4 lung cancer diagnosis, which became a turning point in my life, not just medically, but emotionally and spiritually. What unfolded from that experience shaped the work I do today with nervous system regulation and sound. I am honored to share this part of my journey with you. 20 years ago, Jean, my whole world just stopped. I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. You know, there are these moments in life where everything goes incredibly quiet. That was one of them. I can still remember the stillness, the sheer weight of it, and just this vast unknown stretching out in front of me.
Lynn, that sounds absolutely terrifying. I can't even imagine. What was your immediate thought process? What did you do? Did you just jump into treatment plans?
Well, it's funny, my first impulse wasn't the conventional route. I chose to step into Eastern medicine. And at that very first appointment, the doctor said something that honestly shaped the next 2 decades of my life. He said, "Tonight, before you go to bed, ask this question: what is the truth of this dis-ease in my body? Not disease, but dis-ease. And in the morning, see what the answer is."
Wow, dis-ease. That's such a profound reframing. So you went home and you asked the question. What happened?
I did. I asked it. And at first, nothing. Just silence. So I asked it again, really sincerely, with all the weight of my situation behind it. And in that soft, liminal space between sleeping and waking, I heard something so clearly. It just resonated in my mind. Your body is a healing mechanism. Find the balance. No drama, no lightning bolt, just a quiet, undeniable truth. And I held on to it.
That's incredible. To receive such a clear message amidst such a chaotic diagnosis. So for the next 20 years, you literally searched for balance as that voice instructed?
Exactly. I dove into everything: supplements, complex protocols, detoxes, incredible machines, frequencies, biofeedback. I learned so much, immersing myself in different healing modalities. It was a fascinating journey, truly.
And did you find it? Did you find that balance you were searching for through all those methods?
For a long time, I thought I was making progress. But eventually, something became painfully, undeniably clear. I was chasing symptoms, I was working downstream. It felt like I was constantly trying to manage expressions, the symptoms of my body, instead of stabilizing the fundamental system that was producing them in the first place. And that, Gene, was the real turning point.
So you realized you were addressing the branches but not the roots, so to speak. What do you mean by upstream then? What did that revelation lead you to?
Upstream is the nervous system. Upstream is regulation. Upstream is safety. Think about it, our nervous system. If our autonomic nervous system is chronically living in survival mode, always on high alert, the body has to reallocate its precious resources towards protection. And protection, as it turns out, is incredibly expensive for the body.
Expensive how? What are the consequences of that chronic survival mode?
It shifts immune signaling, alters inflammatory pathways, disrupts hormonal cascades, impacts gut integrity, even changes metabolic flexibility. The body is incredibly adaptive, don't get me wrong. It's designed to respond to threats. But if that adaptation never resolves, if it just keeps accumulating year after year, that's what we call allostatic load.
Allostatic load. That sounds like a heavy burden. Is that essentially the wear and tear from constant stress?
Precisely. It's not one traumatic event, it's years of bracing, years of vigilance, years of subtle survival mode, all these layers adding up. It's environmental exposure, emotional suppression, even the collective intensity we all feel in the world. And this is where people often say, "But I'm not stressed." And I gently asked them, "Are you breathing in the modern world?"
That's a powerful question. Because, most people would say yes, they feel stress, but maybe they don't connect it to all these other factors you're mentioning.
Exactly. Stress isn't just what we consciously feel as pressure or anxiety. It's the constant barrage of environmental toxins, sleep disruption, financial pressures, relational tension, that constant digital stimulation we all experience, news cycles designed to trigger survival, electromagnetic load, and even collective emotional fields. Our nervous system, it doesn't really distinguish well between a tiger in the room and a threat perceived through a screen.
That's a terrifying thought, but it makes so much sense. So, even just scrolling through a news feed can trigger that primal fight or flight response?
Absolutely. If your shoulders tighten, if your breath shortens, if your heart rate shifts, your body registers activation. When we witness something charged, even on a screen, and feel it in our body, the same survival pathways activate. And when that activation repeats over time, it accumulates. That is allostatic load.
So, it's not just the big, obvious traumas, but the constant, insidious drip of low grade stress that builds up over years and years.
Exactly. And here's the hard truth I had to face. Cancer is a symptom. Diabetes is a symptom. Autoimmune disease is a symptom. Chronic fatigue, anxiety, depression, these are all symptoms. That doesn't make them small, Jean. It makes them consequential. They are expressions of a system that has been surviving for far too long without sufficient restoration.
That's a huge shift in perspective for so many people, because we're taught to treat the disease as the primary problem, not a symptom of a deeper imbalance. So, if these are symptoms, what's the underlying need for the system?
Repair requires parasympathetic access. Healing requires a downshift. If the system never truly downshifts, it never reorganizes the way it was designed to. This isn't about saying illness is your fault. It's about recognizing that the nervous system matters more than we have been taught.
So, how did you bridge the gap from understanding this concept to actually implementing a solution? Where did you go from there after this realization?
That's where neuroacoustic work came into play, particularly the incredible work of Dr. Jeffrey Thompson. Through studying his research and applications, something profoundly clear emerged. The nervous system, it turns out, entrains to rhythm. It responds to frequency, to coherence, to dissonance. If the brain can synchronize to pulse tones, if the heart can align with rhythm, if breath can follow pacing, then the nervous system is constantly responding to the atmosphere it lives in.
So, the atmosphere isn't just our physical surroundings, but this sonic environment as well? That's fascinating. And if that atmosphere is chaotic, our system adapts to the chaos?
Exactly. If that atmosphere is chronically incoherent, the system adapts. Not because it's weak or flawed, but because it is exquisitely designed to respond and adapt to its environment. That was the real shift for me, Jean. Balance wasn't something I needed to force or chase anymore. It was something to architect.
To architect. That's a beautiful way to put it. So, you started consciously designing environments for your nervous system to find balance. And this is what you call neurosomatic regulation?
Yes, absolutely. Neurosomatic because the nervous system and the body are inseparable. Neurology and tissue function as one integrated system. So the soundscapes I create aren't just pleasant listening experiences. They are what I call atmospheric architecture, intentional sensory design, structured precisely to influence autonomic regulation, layer by layer.
Can you break that down a bit? What does that atmospheric architecture actually involve? It sounds very intricate.
It is. Every element has a regulatory purpose. We use carrier frequencies that establish neurological stability. There are harmonic relationships woven in to reduce internal tension patterns. Rhythmic pacing supports breath organically, guiding it to a calmer state. Low frequency components are designed to move through fascia and tissue, releasing deeper holding patterns. We use gradual transitions to avoid triggering any sympathetic spikes, and spatial movement in the sound helps with bilateral integration, which is really important for brain balance. It's all about neurosomatic entrainment.
So it's not just about relaxing music, it's about specific frequencies and structures that literally communicate with the body and nervous system at a cellular level.
Exactly. The brain responds, the heart responds, your fascia responds, even your vagus nerve responds. When the external sonic field is coherent, your internal system begins to downshift naturally. Breath reorganizes, muscle tone softens, inflammatory signaling starts to settle, repair pathways reopen. It's like the body remembers regulation, and once it remembers, it can access that state again.
That's truly incredible. To think that a stage 4 cancer diagnosis led you to this profound understanding of how our bodies heal, and that it's also intricately linked to our nervous system and even the sounds around us.
It's been a long journey, Jean. For years I searched for balance. I now understand that balance is regulation. When we design for neurosomatic coherence, when we intentionally create environments that support downshift, when we actively reduce that allostatic load, the body does what it has always been designed to do. It heals. The body is a healing mechanism, just like that voice told me all those years ago. But healing requires the right conditions. And that, truly, is upstream work. That is neurosomatic regulation. And that is the work I now share.
Lynn, thank you so much for sharing your story and your incredible insights today. It's truly inspiring and provides such a hopeful and powerful new perspective on health and healing. It really makes you think about how we can all be a bit more upstream in our own lives.
It's been a pleasure, Jean. My hope is that it empowers people to look beyond symptoms and really understand the profound wisdom of their own bodies.